Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Three Dumb Dads.
Welcome, everybody, again to Three Dumb Dads. We are your Three Dumb Dads, Coach 99, Good Seth, and Ebby. Welcome back, boys. We're doing this again.
We are back. Round two.
Round two.
Without the week layoff.
Yeah, we thought we were going to we'd take a week in between. With that said, we are going to skip next week. We will come back again April 1st. No April Fool's joke on that. We will actually be here on April 1st, 9 p.m. But first, we got to get through tonight. So tonight, we are doing a bracket pick. I'm not even sure anymore what words we can say and can't say without violating somebody's rights, because I watched... Did you guys happen to catch that somebody, it was like an orthodontist, got sued by the NCAA over, they used the word madness and something together, and it had nothing to do with March Madness. It didn't rhyme with it. It didn't sound like it at all, but it said madness, and therefore they must be sued.
Canceled.
Everything's canceled. It's 2021. I think that's the thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what we are going to do tonight, we are going to go through, and we're also going to give you the opportunity to join our brackets as we go. Make sure you fill out your own bracket. You can join us and win nothing but bragging rights, because we just started and have no money to fund any kind of fun stuff yet. But next year, if we keep this going, the plan is to do something.
It's funny, Kelly, my wife said earlier she should fill out a bracket. I was like, yeah, go ahead, do it. She's like, well, what do I win? I was like, nothing. You literally win nothing.
But when you do sign up, we're just doing it on ESPN because that's easy, and you do have the opportunity to join like their big ones, and you can win some pretty cool stuff that way. So you do have the opportunity, just not from us. From us, it's just bragging rights.
They still do, I think, the perfect bracket challenge, which is like,
isn't that $1 million?
I think it's $1 million. It should be more than that.
It should just be $1 million that rolls every year, and should be like 15 million by this point.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, it's got to be one of the hardest things, if not the hardest thing, when it comes to like sports betting and like that many successful picks.
Yes.
It's insane. Because I mean,
has it ever been done?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think it's ever been done. I know they said it was going into the Final Four, maybe 2014, 2015. Somebody had a perfect bracket leading up to there. But I think then ESPN did a little investigating, realized it was like a 14-year-old that submitted it, and they got disqualified anyway, but they didn't win. Chat says it's never been done. I believe that. It doesn't make sense. I mean, these major sports bettors, if you put a five team parlay for one night together, that's an impressive bet. I can't imagine doing it for all of these games. But
I get impressed with myself if I come out of the first round, like with only missing 2.
Dude, for me, if I can get through a day with having less than like 4 or 5, my goal every year whenever I filled out a bracket is this: I don't want to lose a Sweet 16 team on the first day. That if I can do that, I've had a great bracket. Whatever else happens from there, I'm fine, because at least I could pick the first round.
Every time that I've done a bracket, and I probably, even if it's just like, I'm just going to do it to see how well I can do. I probably do it every year. I always go in confident, like, man, I picked all these games great. Like, this is going to be it. And then first day happens, and my bracket looks like it just got shot at.
Oh yeah,
it's
yes.
Anything can happen. I mean, I think that's the most special thing about sports is, anything can happen. Anybody can beat anybody on any given day. And
do you believe in miracles? Oh wait, that was earlier this week. We talked about that with the stuff that's now hanging down on your wall. So without further ado,
This is that one shining moment. That
Exactly.
song, that one shining moment.
Well, got some singing going on.
You gonna continue, or we doing karaoke
That's
tonight, or a
all I know.
podcast? I mean,
I think that's all he's got.
okay, you
That's
good? All right. So without further ado, we are going to flip it over. We are going to start filling in the Three Dumb Dads bracket. Chat, feel free to put your thoughts behind this as well. We may or may not consider it as we go. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to start up here in the West. We are going to go through. I know I have my bracket here next to me so that I can kind of look at what I decided in the 20 minutes that I put forth to make my picks. We'll hear from Ebby. We'll hear from good Seth, and we'll make some decisions. So starting in the West, number 1, Gonzaga. Number 16, either was it Norfolk or App State. Whichever one of those does get through tonight.
Currently, it's Norfolk State up 19-11 on App State.
19-11.
Not a barn burner.
Sounds a little early. I mean, unless that's a halftime score. I mean,
all right. I'm just going to go right out and say it doesn't matter who wins that game. They're not beating Gonzaga.
Yes.
I agree. Gonzaga definitely moving over.
Zags.
Moving to a much more back and forth. The 8-9 games are always kind of a toss up. Oklahoma and Missouri. Who do you got?
Abby, go ahead.
I got Oklahoma just because I think, and again, this is coming from no knowledge of watching college basketball this year, but they're in the Big 12, and it seems like the Big 12 is a better conference this year.
Yeah, I'm also going with Oklahoma. Oklahoma had some bigger wins this year. They beat Alabama, Kansas, and West Virginia. Missouri also beat Alabama, but they also lost to Ole Miss. So not big on Missouri. I think Oklahoma takes it.
Gotcha. Totally makes sense there. I go with a little less traditional reasoning as to why I picked Oklahoma. And it's just simply because I think most times they get the 8-9 games right. The 8 is just that little bit better than the 9. As we continue down, next we get to the 5-12 Creighton not USBC. UCSB. So was that University of California, South Beach? Santa Barbara?
Santa Barbara.
I believe it's Santa Barbara.
I'm just going to make it up because, I mean, to me, it really doesn't probably matter. But
South Beach is in Miami.
Is that near the Birdwatch?
Probably.
Sorry, that's a different stream conversation.
You're fine. I'm taking Creighton.
Yeah, I say that one I think is pretty much straightforward. That's great.
Yeah.
Virginia and Ohio. My thought is Virginia. Anybody seeing anything different?
I took Ohio.
You know, it's funny. I picked Virginia, but I will say that I can 100% see Ohio beating them. If we all remember a few years ago, Virginia's the number 1 seed that got knocked out by a 16. First time that's ever happened.
Yep.
And even if Virginia does make it through, let's say they do somehow get to Gonzaga in the Sweet 16, they already lost to Gonzaga by 23 points earlier this season. So even if they get through this round and maybe the next round, they don't have a long shot.
So let me ask you this. Do you think the conversation in the locker room though is, listen, we've been number 1. It doesn't matter. We need to make sure that we're defending and not taking this Ohio team too lightly because it is so fresh in their mind? Or is that our Three Dumb Dads Cinderella story right there with Ohio upsetting Virginia, first round upset special?
I mean, I took Virginia, and I know you did, but I'm kind of leaning towards Ohio. I'm going with Ebby here.
I say, so I'm not.
Yeah, Ohio.
My other bracket is on the other computer. I am not changing it. I'm clicking Ohio.
Ohio can score.
Yeah.
80 points per game. Virginia's just under 70. Now, they did get knocked off by the 16, but then they came back and won it the very next year. But I also saw somewhere, forget where, but I think it's Virginia hasn't played a game in some time just because of like COVID and everything, because they got eliminated from the ACC tournament because of COVID.
Right. It'd be
So they might be
interesting to
rusty.
see. All right.
All
Moving on,
right.
Coach.
So, sorry, moving on. USC and Drake, 6 versus 13.
Well, yeah, Drake won that game, right? So,
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's why
I
it's
mean-
already there. I was like, wait a minute, what?
I mean,
Yes,
I
'cause it was
personally don't
Wichita
think it
State,
matters. I think USC's
Yeah.
got a pretty strong team. They've got a really good defense, and I think USC wins.
I agree. I have USC in that one.
Yes.
Jayhawks and Eastern Washington. Who you got?
I think that's rock chalk all the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have them going pretty far. So I'm going to say yes to that one. Now we get to the 7-10 games, which for me personally, these are a lot of times the ones where you see those first round upsets. I mean, to me, much more normally. Number 10, VCU. Number 7, Oregon. Me personally, I got VCU. With that said, my wife also went to grad school there, so I have a little bit of bias that way. But, Ebby, if you remember, we also have a little connection to there via Cal U. Shaka Smart.
Yes. Who is currently the head coach of Texas?
Exactly. But he was at VCU when they made the Cinderella run. But who you got? VCU, Oregon.
I took Oregon.
I picked VCU.
All right. So we are 2-1 on that one. Does chat want to chime in with anything on VCU and Oregon? So obviously I know why I said it. Seth, let's try to move Ebby to our side. Why are you picking VCU?
So, I think VCU's got a better defense than Oregon. VCU had a couple of big wins this year, including Memphis, Utah State. Oregon, I didn't see them really play anybody this year. They were 0-1 against the top 25. VCU was the same way. I like the VCU lineup versus Oregon, and I think they take it.
Ebby. Fight for Oregon. Fight for the Ducks.
I mean, there was no
other than the Ducks.
There's no rhyme or reason why I picked Oregon.
All right, then we're going with VCU. You're done.
Yeah, I think I looked at their
Overruled. You're done.
record and said, "Oh, they're 20-6."
Well, I mean, listen, we don't have to go 3-0.
Oh, I know.
Majority world.
Okay, I got you. I was overruling him anyway. I was just trying to see if he would come to our side and make it 3-0. All right, Iowa, number 2 versus number 15, Grand Canyon.
Coached by Suns legend Dan Marley.
I'm assuming we're all going Iowa on this one, right? Okay. All right, so moving into the round of 32 for the West, Gonzaga and Oklahoma.
Gonzaga.
Zags. Nobody's stopping them.
I have Zags. Creighton, Ohio.
I still got Ohio.
Honestly, in that matchup, I'm going with Ebby.
So I had Virginia in the first round. I had Virginia moving on past Creighton. I'm going to say Ohio. Let's go. Ohio is our Sweet 16 Cinderella story this year. You heard it here first.
And I went with Ohio because Creighton just played Georgetown for their conference championship, and I believe got smacked.
They did.
And Creighton's a 5 and Georgetown's a 12.
Yep.
No, there we go.
They got embarrassed in that game.
I think they lost by like 20.
Yeah.
All right, so moving down to the bottom half of that bracket in the round of 32, number 6 USC versus number 3 Kansas. I have Jayhawks again.
Yes.
All right, convince me. Why? Convince me.
Because I like the Jayhawks
Big
over
12.
over,
You like the
over
Jayhawks?
USC. I got nothing. I told you. I took no time to put everything together, and I just picked teams.
No, it's cool. I mean, I think Kansas wins, but I think that USC makes it an interesting game. And the only reason I say that is they're very similar teams. Score about the same, defend about the same. Um, Kansas has a lot more notable wins, if that's what you want to call it. But I think USC makes it a close game, a lot closer than many people probably think. But I'm good with Kansas.
All right. So Kansas moves on. Now, number 2, Iowa. Number 10, VCU.
Iowa.
Iowa.
All right. I had VCU, but there's nothing to defend it. I picked them. All right. Moving back up to the top, Gonzaga and Ohio. I think I know the answer here. Gonzaga.
Yeah, Zags.
Is that where the
Yes,
Cinderella
that's
story
where-
ends? Okay. Back
That's where the run ends.
reality snaps back, and we are back to normal with Gonzaga there. In the 2-3 game, Iowa over Kansas or Kansas over Iowa?
This is where I got Iowa.
Iowa. They put up too many points. I think that's going to be the biggest thing that Kansas struggles with. They don't score as much, and I think that Iowa's just going to score too many for them to keep up. I really do.
Yeah, Iowa coming out of the Big Ten, and I think we'll see as we go through this. Big Ten is absolutely stacked this year.
Yep.
It's the best conference in the whole country this year.
I just want to look at one thing real quick, because the one thing that a lot of times I'll go back to when looking at a team is their free throw percentage. Because a lot of times at the end of the game, that's something that plays in big. Kansas comes in at 71.2. Just want to check real quick and see where Iowa is, because that's always my last place, to check. 2021. Because Jay what? Because Jay. That's funny. Let's go here. Looks like their free throw percentage for this season. Whoa, it bounced. 71.3. I'll give it to you guys with Iowa. If there was a major difference there between the two, I might put up a more of a fight, but when they're that close, it doesn't really matter. So, who is moving on to the Final Four? Iowa or Gonzaga?
Gonzaga.
Gonzaga.
Easy.
Out of those,
Yeah,
Gonzaga.
and to just kind of tap on that, a little bit. Iowa and Gonzaga already played once this year. Gonzaga won by 11, and
Gotcha.
so Iowa, I think, coming into all of this was the 5th ranked team in the country, and they're beating everybody by double digits. I mean, it's crazy how dominant they are.
Let's say,
So,
I have a feeling that's probably if that's what ends up being that Elite 8 game, I think that's going to be one of the best games of the tournament in terms of back and forth, who's going to win, buzzer beaters. But that gets us to the end of the West. So, in order to kind of break up the picks, Ebby, I believe you have some information for us about some tournament history. We like to do history here.
Yeah, so just like last week with kind of like random facts of like this day in history, we're kind of going with random facts of March Madness. So these facts are courtesy of history.com. And the first one I got kind of goes way back. And the first interesting fact is the NCAA tournament used to take a backseat to the NIT. So at one point, the NIT was more prominent than the big dance.
So,
And this was do.
Oh.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to ask what was the reason? Did we know? Sounds like you're getting there.
Yeah, so it was the media attention. Apparently, the NIT always played in Madison Square Garden.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, what's funny about it, didn't I sent you guys that random fact about today in Madison Square Garden history?
Yes.
The
Double irony.
and say and that March 18th of 1881 was when Barnum and Bailey's Greatest Show opened in Madison Square Garden. Obviously, different times, COVID times. I'm assuming there would be at least some games in that general vicinity, whether it's NIT or NCAA. But I can't wait till we get back to somewhat normal.
Man, Hugh Jackman makes like 140 look good.
Yeah.
I was so confused for a half a second there. Well,
Dad joke.
Greatest show.
there's your dad joke for the evening. Speaking of dad jokes, I believe that will be one of the features on our April Fool's Day episode, is a dad joke competition that may get into the liquor cabinet back here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if Ebby heard about this yet. So you may want to you may want to get some liquor ready for the April 1st, and a bottle or two of water and a towel. We'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. So moving on.
This doesn't go to your side of TikTok, does it?
No. But we're heading back. We're going to head to the South region now. Heading to the South, we are going to start with number 1 Baylor, number 16 Hartford. Again, who you got?
Da Bears.
Agreed.
All right. Moving on down, North Carolina number 8, Wisconsin number 9. Where are you feeling in this one?
I'm going Big Ten. I think Wisconsin beats them. North Carolina struggled this year, and I think Wisconsin's put up a couple of big wins over the season. I think they beat up North Carolina, and I think they beat them up pretty bad.
Ebby?
I agree. Big Ten all the way.
Even though, so I just want to throw this out because I have North Carolina in that one, and I just want to say, you know, in looking at it, the points per game differential, 6 points more per game for North Carolina. Is it, Seth? Do you just think that's simply because they didn't play anybody that they put up that many more points?
I think the ACC was a lot less competitive this year. I think if they were playing, you know, like a Duke, NC State, you know, any of those teams from a couple of years past, that points per game is a lot lower. Wisconsin was going up against Iowa, Ohio State. Illinois, you can throw Illinois in there, Michigan, all these big name teams that are just sitting at the top of this bracket, frankly. So I think that, you know, it's because of the fact that they played in such a strong conference that there's that big of a difference between the points per game.
All right.
Yeah, I believe Big Ten has 4 of the top 8 seeds.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, moving into the next game. Number 5, Villanova. Number 12, Winthrop. Who you got?
Nova.
I think that's a pretty easy one right there.
I took the Eagles. If they're the Eagles, their logo looks like an eagle.
I was going to say, it looks like, I think they are the Winthrop Eagles, but I'm not 100% sure, and I'm taking the big V. Number 4, Purdue, or number 13, North Texas?
Purdue.
Purdue.
Oh, Purdue. Number 6, Texas Tech, or number 11, Utah State. I'm going to need a minute to recover from that.
Texas Tech.
Nobody clipped
Texas
that.
Tech.
Yeah, I got Texas Tech as well. Moving on. Oops. Number 3, Arkansas. Number 14, Colgate.
Uh,
I got our Kansas.
Arkansas is going to wipe the floor with the toothpaste.
With toothpaste, you.
Yeah.
All right, going back to the 7-10 game. Number 7, Florida. Number 10, Virginia Tech.
I got Virginia Tech.
I love the 10s in the 7-10 game. Again, they beat Nova earlier in the year, so I would think Virginia Tech is a solid pick there. Ebby?
I do have Florida.
This was definitely a tough call.
It's I mean, it's a toss up. I mean, you got 14-9 against 15-6.
Like I said, to me, the 8-9 games are typically 8. The 7-10 games, I think there's been years where 3 out of 4 go to the 10.
Yeah.
So
I mean, and you can compare like their notable wins. Florida beat West Virginia. Virginia Tech beat Nova. So, I mean, very close in comparison. I think honestly it is a toss up, but
yeah,
I don't know. I'm going with Virginia Tech for the fact that they were 4-0 against top 25. Florida was 2-2. So that's what I went off of.
I like it. So number 2, Ohio State. Sorry, the Ohio State or Oral Roberts. Why isn't Oral Roberts playing Colgate?
That would be an interesting matchup.
Would also be another dad joke. I'm gonna take. I'm assuming we're just all taking Ohio State in that one, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's randomly picking Oral Roberts. All right. Number 1, Baylor. Number 9, Wisconsin.
Baylor.
I say I got Baylor. Nova and Purdue.
Purdue.
I had Nova. Huh. Well, sucks to be me.
Yeah, I'll just say this. If you look back, more times than not, Nova always disappoints their fans. And you always have these people that are so high and mighty on Nova going into brackets, and they pick them to go all the way to the Final Four and end up being the national champion, and they're eliminated in the round of 32. So
I agree. And
I think they go out early again this year.
Well, and it's one of those things, and it's one of the things Seth and I talked about, before we got on tonight, and we were watching the Mount St. Mary's game, and they were living and dying by the 3. And many times, especially in the tournament, when you live and die by the 3, you die by the 3 in the tournament because they play better defense. They're trying to keep you moving. They're going to go down. They're going to put down some 2-pointers and not care and let you miss those 3s all night. Moving on, number 6, Texas Tech. Number 3, Arkansas. I have Arkansas in this one.
Where am I? Arkansas. Yes, Arkansas.
I say,
I have Arkansas as well.
I say one of 3 teams that's averaging that's keeping their opponents at about 70 points per game, but they're putting up a ton, up in the 80s. So just much more high scoring. Number 10, Virginia Tech. Number 2, Ohio State.
I got the Buckeyes.
I say I have Ohio State in this one, making it a 1, 2, 3, 4 Elite 8, Sweet 16. So going there, number 1 Baylor, number 4 Purdue. I have Baylor in that one. And then
Baylor as well.
Arkansas, Ohio State. I have Arkansas.
10. Me, it's hard to go against the Big Ten this year just because of how dominant and
I agree.
I mean, that
100%.
was definitely the black and blue division of college basketball.
Gotcha. Yeah. I think the only reason I went with Arkansas is just because they're keeping their opponents to about the same point as Ohio State and just putting up way more. But I can totally see, why Ohio State would make more sense. So we will move them ahead. So number 1,
I will go ahead. I will say I just think that if anybody's going to beat Gonzaga this year, it's going to be a team from the Big Ten. That's how I see Gonzaga losing. It's
Yes.
going to be at the hands of one of the Big Ten teams.
Gotcha.
And they could play 3 in a row.
They could.
All right. Going to finish this one out, number 1 Baylor, number 2 Ohio State.
I took Ohio State just because, I mean, I think the Big Ten has a very, very good shot of having 3 out of the 4 Final Four teams.
I took Baylor, but I can't disagree. With what Ebby said, I think the Big Ten could surprise us, and we could see 3 of the 4 teams in the Final Four. They were that division is that good.
It's even possible to have all 4.
Yeah, it is.
I say I'm torn on this one because I don't have I have Arkansas beating Ohio State in the previous round, and I have Arkansas beating Baylor, which I know is far-fetched and whatever, but in a Baylor Ohio State matchup, I see Baylor beating them, just trying to run up and down the court more, just trying to outgun them at the end. I have Baylor in this one.
It's possible.
Well, and that's what we're going. So far,
Baylor's the number 3 scoring team in the country, in regards to this bracket. So if they can score, they can put up a bunch of points on Ohio State, which is going to be tough. I think they have a shot.
it's going to be one of those games that whoever controls the floor and whoever can run their offense and run what they want to do is going to be the one that wins it. So with that, we have finished our top half of the bracket. West and South are now complete. Ebby, hit us with some more history, my man.
So as we know, this is all about winning the title. Do you know what school has the most championships? Basketball, obviously.
Men's?
Okay.
Well, it was an easy answer if it's women's, because that's UConn. They won like 73 in a row. On the men's side,
So my first thought is Kentucky.
It is not Kentucky.
My first thought would be North Carolina.
Also not North Carolina. Kentucky is second with 8. UCLA has won 11 national championships.
Oh, yeah.
10 of those titles came in a 12-year stretch.
Jeez.
They had players such as Lou Alcindor, also known as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and one who is, I feel like, so far gone, Bill Walton.
Man.
Crazy. Dude, 10 championships in 12 years. I mean,
Yes.
it's crazy.
It's hard enough to win one.
Yeah. Without a doubt.
Yeah, that's absolutely nuts. All right. So now, thank you for that. We're going to flip to the East. Bringing it back, we have number 1, Michigan, number 16, Texas
Doesn't matter.
Southern.
Doesn't matter.
Go Blue.
Okay. Michigan. I got Michigan too.
I was just saying that because I have it on my sheet.
All right. So the next game, number 8 LSU, number 9 St. Bonaventure. This one I took the Bonnies. What?
Nothing.
Why are you laughing at me?
I took
I went
LSU.
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 Bonnies have some great defense. I don't know.
Bonnie also did not play
Anyone ever?
anybody in relation to LSU. LSU beat Arkansas, who you had going fairly far, I think.
Yeah, I did.
So
My brackets never make sense. That's why I always do absolutely terrible. All right, number 5, Colorado. Number 12, Georgetown.
Georgetown.
Okay,
Patrick Ewing.
I'll shut up then. Number 4, Florida State. Number 13, UNC Greensboro. Very nice campus. I have been there.
Florida State.
what was their food like?
We didn't eat on campus. Did we? I don't know if we did or not. I visited during spring break, so I don't think they were open.
Okay, I took Florida State.
Florida State. Going down further, number 6, BYU. Number 11, MSU and UCLA.
I got the Mormons.
Hope to play in games.
Did you really? Too bad.
I mean,
they do have
Michigan
UCLA in
State.
there.
I mean, it could.
Ten.
I mean, it could easily happen. I'm still going with the Mormons.
Again, we talked about this before off, before we recorded, and I don't like it not being the 16 seeds should be every play-in game. There's no
Without
reason to have an 11 seed be a play-in game. It doesn't make any sense. If the last 8 teams need to fight to get those last 4 spots, that's fine. You don't throw them into the middle. We're like, hey, you were good enough. Like, hey, UCLA, we could have made you a 12 seed, but instead, play in this game. Maybe you'll be an 11, or you'll just go home.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it that way, I mean, they could be playing Colorado, instead of potentially having to come in and play BYU. Not like it's a really big difference, but not having to worry about playing a play-in game and then turning around and playing another game.
Well, I mean, or they could be a 10 seed and they could be playing UConn. I mean, to me, it doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
That should be the 16 seed every time. So bump Iona. Iona can play Texas Southern. Everybody else moves down one, and this makes a whole lot more sense. In any event, I'll stop ranting. Number 3, Texas. Number 14, Abilene Christian.
I got the Longhorns.
Hook 'em horns.
Hook 'em.
It's number 7, UConn.
Smart.
That as well. Number 7, UConn. Number 10, Maryland.
Got the Terps.
Maryland.
I had UConn.
No, there's 2 things. Maryland.
I had crab cakes and football or basketball.
I'm going to say crab cakes and beat UConn.
Oh, okay. Number 2, Alabama. Number 15, Iona. I'm clicking before you even say anything. Number 1, Michigan.
Yeah,
number 8, LSU. Yep.
Big Blue.
Michigan.
I'm just going to do this.
Just going to lean your head forward? Okay. Number 4, Ohio State. Number 12, Georgetown.
Did you just say Ohio State? You mean Florida State?
Florida State. I said Ohio State and was confused as to why they were there. No. Number 12, Georgetown. Number 4, Florida State. I got Florida State, but...
Florida State.
Yeah, Seminoles.
And then BYU and Texas. I have Texas. I have Texas on that one.
Texas.
And then number 2, Alabama. Number 10, Maryland.
I got Bama. I think they're too strong for Maryland. Maryland's run comes up a little short.
So the East gets back to normal by the time we get there, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Michigan versus Florida State.
Hang on.
Oh.
Observe the football bracket that we have here. Look at the schools.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Michigan, Florida State, Texas, Alabama has a basketball team now.
That'd be like Duke. That'd be like Duke playing football.
Right.
I mean, think about it. Think about Alabama. They're the 9th. They're overall the 9th team in the country.
Yep, they're good.
It's crazy because when you think of Alabama, you think of Nick Saban, you think of the powerhouse that he's built,
Yep.
and now we're talking about them being a legitimate title contender.
Yeah.
Um, they're gonna have a rough matchup if they get to the Elite Eight and have to play Michigan. Um, I just don't see that happening. But the fact that we're putting them that far into the bracket to even get there, I think is something pretty special.
Agreed. So going here, Michigan, Florida State. Who you got?
Michigan.
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 I was just making sure, Eb. Number 3, Texas. Number 2, Alabama. I'm taking Texas.
Bama.
Who'd you say?
That's where Bama still goes.
I have Bama because of the fact that they score a lot of points. They are not afraid to take shots. They hit a lot of shots. They hit a lot of threes. They're just a gutsy, gritty team, and I think that they're going to take out the Longhorns and have to face Michigan.
So here's my only thing on that one, because I was looking at the stuff that we were looking at earlier. Texas 7-6 against the top 25, where Alabama's 1-3. Obviously, way more competition.
Big
Here in the
12
top
has more
25.
ranked teams.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it from notable wins. I mean, Texas obviously beat Texas. Their notable wins is Kansas, Texas Tech, West Virginia, Oklahoma State, and UNC. I don't even necessarily consider UNC to be a notable win. Alabama's notable wins are Arkansas, Tennessee, LSU, Florida, and Ole Miss.
All right, so we're moving
Alabama lost. Well, Alabama lost to Missouri, but Texas lost to Baylor by 14. I'm sorry, and they lost to Texas Tech and WVU. They basically split their season series with those teams, and they also lost to Villanova. So the fact that they lost to Nova, that's why I went with Alabama.
Okay. So 1 or 2, Michigan or
Well said.
Alabama to move to the Final Four.
Big Blue.
So far we have 3 number 1 seeds hitting the Final Four. Right after Ebby's final fact, or maybe second to last fact, for the NCAA tournament, we will get to the Midwest and we will finish out the bracket. Ebby, what do you got for us?
Talk about a heck of a segue, since you said we got 3 number 1 seeds in the Final Four, because number 1 seeds are a good bet to make the Final Four. So since the tournament began seeding teams in 1979, a number 1 seed has made the Final Four every year except 3 times.
That's crazy.
1980, 2006, 2011.
Not too far off from them.
No, not at all. And obviously, as the competition gets better and better and closer, but the bracketologists obviously know what they're doing. There's a reason. Or let me flip that on its head though. Or is there always one team that you know is going to make it the whole way through? Like looking at this, the chances of Gonzaga not making the Final Four.
Oh, they got the easiest road.
But that team's that
think-
good too, so they deserve it.
So I agree with you to an extent. I think they have a very easy road, but I think they have the toughest Elite Eight matchup
Yes.
out of all the teams. If we were to take the 1 and 2 seeds all the way through in each region, even though they're all in Indianapolis, I still think Gonzaga has the toughest matchup against Iowa. I mean, you could probably say Illinois and Houston would be a tough matchup for the 1 seed. Baylor and Ohio State, that's a tough matchup as well. But I think Iowa was 1 win away in the Big Ten tournament from being a number 1 seed, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Oops. So looking back through, we actually do have 1 versus 2, 1 versus 2, 1 versus 2. So every Elite 8 is 1 and 2.
I think a lot of it just comes from the dominance.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That a lot of these teams that are ranked 1 and 2, they were powerhouses in their division, and they may not have the stats to back it up, or in their conferences. I'm sorry, they may not have the highest stats and things like that, but it's because they're playing such tough teams every single night of the week, that that's why their stats aren't as high as they would be. And it's crazy to say that the ACC is non-existent.
Yeah, that's probably one of the weirdest things. Like, as we were looking through everything and kind of talking before, that's not normal. That's normally the conference of dominance. So we're going to move back. We're going to close out.
Go ahead. You have a tournament this year with no Kentucky and no Duke.
When's the last time that happened?
Ooh.
I think it was like 1976.
It's nuts.
I didn't even realize. Like, I know, like, I've looked through everything. I've done it. I've done all that. That didn't even like mentally hit me, like, that they were missing.
No Louisville.
Yeah, both of them.
Jeez, crazy. All right, moving down to the Midwest, we are going to start with number 1 Illinois, number 16 Drexel.
Illinois.
I think that's a fairly easy one. 16 versus 1 normally is.
Yes.
Unless you're Virginia.
No Cinderella stories this year.
No, not out of the 16 seed.
No.
Maybe out of the 13. Loyola, Chicago, Georgia Tech.
I don't think Sister Mary has it in her this year.
This is my only 8-9 upset. I have Georgia Tech in this one.
I have Georgia Tech as well. I think that they've played more substantial competition. I think Chicago's only real big game this year was against Drake, which they won, but they lost to Wisconsin by almost 15 points.
Yeah.
So I think Georgia Tech takes it.
All right, moving down. Tennessee, Oregon State.
Volunteers.
Tennessee.
I don't know why, but that was my upset special right there, was Oregon State.
You picked the Beavers.
Well, I picked the B and I picked the V. I picked the V and I picked the Beavers. It's fine. All right, moving on. Number 4, Oklahoma State, and number 13, Liberty.
OK State.
Yes, I definitely have that.
OK State has the number 1 player in the country, and if he had a little bit better support, they may be going a lot farther in this tournament. But he's going to be the number 1 overall pick in the NBA draft. That's my opinion. Whether or not that actually happens, I don't know.
Very good. Looking on number 6, San Diego State, number 11, Syracuse.
San Diego.
Ooh.
I got Santiago as well.
I'll go with you guys. I picked Hughes, but they're having a down year. They've had a couple of down years. So I'm good with San Diego State.
All right, moving on. Number 3, West Virginia. Number 14, Morehead State.
Mountaineers, baby.
West Virginia. Mountain
Yes.
Mama.
Morgantown's a fun town.
You want to get into that story? Number 7, Clemson. Number 10, Rutgers.
Clemson.
And say, moving on, I have Clemson as well. Seth?
I don't believe Rutgers is good at anything.
You're good. Clemson.
I drove by Rutgers once. That was about the extent of anything I cared about Rutgers. Number 2, Houston. Number 15, Cleveland State. Sorry, Drew Carey. I'm going Houston.
Houston.
Yes. It's probably the only good thing to come out of Houston this year.
No doubt.
There's a Watt coming out of Houston, isn't there?
Yeah, that's the thing. He's coming out.
Yeah, he's out.
He left.
Number 1, Illinois. Number 9, Georgia Tech.
Illinois.
Illini.
I say taking the Illini there. Number 5, Tennessee versus number 4, Oklahoma State. I don't know where I was going with that. Oklahoma State.
Okay, State.
Yes.
Cade Cunningham, dominant.
Is he a freshman?
I took the Beavers in that round too.
Oh my God, you have them beating Oklahoma State? Oh. Bro, what do you do when you pick your bracket? Do you like throw it up on the wall and like throw darts at it and like hope that like something sticks?
I think I basically think about like what I knew about those teams over the last like 15 years, put the best versions of that team together and go, hey, I like them better. Anyway, moving on. Number 6, San Diego State. Number 3, West Virginia.
Mountaineers.
W.
And then
back to Ebby's question. Yes, he is a freshman.
That's unbelievable.
All right. Moving to the bottom. Number 2, Houston. Number 7, Clemson.
Houston.
I have Houston as well. Number 2, Houston. Number 3, West Virginia. I'm just kind of snaking back up here.
That's fine.
Houston.
I have Houston as well. Love to see the Mountaineers keep going, but they struggle
I took West Virginia.
in weird games. And
Huggy Bear.
yeah.
And then Illinois, OK State.
Illini.
Illinois.
And finally, so okay, 30 seconds I'm out. Every Elite 8 game is 1-2 in our bracket.
Yeah.
Illinois, Houston.
Illinois.
All right, so we have an all number 1 Final Four. Before we fill that in, Ebby, I believe you have one more fact for us.
Well,
Please
2
say,
more. But, yeah.
I was going to say, I hope you have at least one more. 2 more? Great. We'll go to that afterwards.
So again, kind of sticking with the number 1 seeds, as we already know. It has only happened once where 16 has beat a number 1. UMBC beat Virginia. They blew them out.
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
they beat them by like 20.
that wasn't even a competition.
Yes.
It's
So
funny. I was picking my wife up from a work trip. I was waiting for her at the airport. I was watching the game on my phone. And I just remember like, there's no way this is real. Like, there's no way this is really happening. And it wasn't just like, they won by 2 points. They blew them apart.
yes. 74-54.
Crazy.
And then that pissed off Virginia, and the next year they came out and won the whole thing.
I mean, hey, it happens.
Yeah, it's like they went worst to first.
Kind of.
It's kind of an interesting thought, though. Like, so let me get your guys' opinion on this.
Okay.
So, say that you played college basketball. Say you were on that team. You were good enough to play Division I basketball for Virginia. Would you rather played on a team in Division II or Division III, and not have that happen to you, or would you have rather been on the Virginia team and have that loss to a 16 seed and be the first team in history for that to happen to?
I mean, you are part of history.
Well, so let me say it this way. If I'm a senior and that's my last game, I am very disappointed in the way that my career ends unless I go and play in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not, put me on that team all day. I just want to play D1. Like, especially because you're coming back and you're playing the next year and you have a chance to redeem yourself. If that was the last time you got to play, that would really leave a sour taste in your mouth. But you'd have to find something else to do to kind of resurrect your career from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would suck to go out that way.
I still think
But then
getting to
imagine
play
if,
Division One would be incredible. So
oh yeah. I mean, imagine being a junior, lose to a 16, and then the next year, your senior year, you win the whole thing.
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
and but then also think about it. What if you're a junior? You're like right on that cusp of, should I declare for the draft or not? After that,
Yeah.
I'm probably declaring for the draft.
I say depending on where my draft stock is at that point and where things have been talked about, yeah, I'm probably declaring and going, you know what? I'm done. Don't want to touch that anymore. Let's not get hurt.
Yeah.
All right,
Yep.
so let's flip it back. We're going to pick a national champion. We also have to submit a score in here as well. So, starting on the left, Gonzaga and Michigan. Who do you got?
This is where the hat comes off.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, this is if this matchup happens, aside from whatever happens in the other Final Four, Baylor and Illinois, Michigan against Gonzaga may be one of the best basketball games in the past 20 years from a college basketball perspective.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I'm just agreeing.
Yeah, I think that Gonzaga is. I think we are finally seeing this year how dominant a basketball team can be, and when they are on their game, which they have been there in this entire season, just how dominant they really are. And I think that they take that dominance and they continue on to the national championship.
I agree.
Yeah, I think this is
in that
this is
matchup,
Gonzaga.
unless Gonzaga falls prior to they're definitely going to the national championship in that matchup because they're going to go into it one confident and two just ready to do work. Putting up 92 points a game to Michigan 76. Their opponent's points per game is almost the same. 69 for Gonzaga, 65 for Michigan. I think Gonzaga minus 6.5.
Yeah, I think their shooting is just leaps and bounds above everybody else's. The only time I see them struggling is if they have to play, like Ebby was saying earlier, back to back games against Big Ten. So like, if they struggle against Iowa, which I can totally see happening, Michigan might have a shot. But it's so hard to pick against them with how dominant they've been. But we'll see.
I have them as the national champion, but let's get over to the right side first. Baylor and Illinois. I don't have either of these teams getting there, so to me, sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, I had Ohio State making the run. But since we're going Baylor or Illinois, I don't know. I guess
a toss up. It's a toss up game, I think. I mean, honestly, there's not much difference in their offense in terms of points per game. Baylor's got a little bit better of a defense by like 2 points per game. Not like it means much. Here, let's go to notable wins. You ready for these? Because this is pretty crazy. So Baylor's beaten Illinois already this season. They've beaten Kansas, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, Texas, and West Virginia. That's a pretty solid resume.
Big time wins.
They're 7-2 versus the top 25. Now let's flip over to Illinois. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and it goes along with probably where you were about to get. Does the loss to Baylor by 13 give Illinois in this matchup the juice it needs to beat them?
I think it all depends on if Michigan's playing Gonzaga on the other side, because if you look at the schedule, Illinois beat Michigan by 23 points in this season, which is insane. They lost to Baylor, but they also beat Michigan. They beat Iowa. They beat Ohio State. They beat Wisconsin. They beat Purdue.
Yep.
They both have really, really good resumes and are very, very worthy of that number one seed. So I think the fact that Illinois beat Michigan by 23 points, I gotta go Illinois.
I
Agreed.
I don't have either of these teams getting there, so I didn't really put much thought into it. I'm going to go with Illinois just based on on that as well, and I think the Baylor loss, like losing to Baylor, helps get them there as well. So we have Gonzaga and Illinois in the final. Is Gonzaga your outright winner?
I think this is the Bulldogs' year. I mean, they are absolutely. I know they play in the WAC, but regardless, they're dominating.
That's what they're
left
doing
and
to
right.
every team. They're whacking every team they play.
I think the
Yeah.
first 7 games they played 4 ranked teams at the time and wiped the floor with all 4 of them.
Yeah. Yeah. It was Iowa, Kansas, Virginia, and it was either BYU or West Virginia. It was one of the two.
Yeah.
And I mean, they made those teams not even look competitive. And Iowa came back and got a number 2 seed. Kansas came back and got a number 3 seed. I don't see anybody. I haven't seen any team as dominant as they have been
Right.
throughout an entire season in a long time. And and for that, I think that they win. Now, listen, the fact that we picked them and the fact that we said all of this and it's being recorded, if they lose in the first round to the doesn't matter team that it didn't fill in, I'll stop talking. Like, I'll never pick another bracket again. But I just don't see it. I don't see anybody beating them
Until
I
next
really
year.
don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
When
right.
we're all back in the stands with no masks on.
All right. So both of these teams
sweet.
give up approximately just under 70 points per game. Illinois scores about 81. Gonzaga scores about 92. What is our tiebreak final score?
91-85.
You're going that high? You think it's going to be that high scoring?
Gonzaga takes like 4 seconds off a shot clock before they score.
Yeah. They're so fast. Their
So
transition.
So you said what? You said 91
Yes, 91.
to 85. Is that what you said?
Yeah, he said
I think
85.
that's what I said. Yeah.
Seth, any thoughts on changing that?
I think it'll be close. I think the thing that Gonzaga is going to finally face this year is, they started off the season against those teams, and everybody was kind of getting their legs back from underneath each other, and was trying to figure out, game plans, and was trying to make a mess of what the last season was. Some of the teams finally found their stride. I still think that Gonzaga dominates and scores 90 plus points. I'll be shocked to see anybody hold them under 85 points in the tournament. So I'm good with that.
All
Yeah.
right. I am fantastic with that as well. So Ebby, with that, our submission is now in. Please give us another awesome fact.
So last one of the night. So we're talking about like the whole night teams that are in the tournament. So it's kind of hard to believe that the longest drought between tournaments. Do you have a guess on how many years?
Longest drought for a team to make it.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I know Michigan was out for a while, but that was for a different reason.
So what? They started doing the bracket. How long ago? God, I don't even know.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, Ebby, give
Well,
us like a starting year as to when this officially counts.
So I guess they started doing the NCAA tournament we'll say as far back as 1946, because that was this team's last appearance up until
Okay.
2011.
Holy cow.
46 to 2011. Can I hold on? Can I pull up the 2011 bracket and see if I can figure it out? Is that allowed?
Sure, why not?
I guess.
Are you going to bring it up?
I mean, you got a 1 in
screen so that I
64
can
chance.
see?
Oh yeah, I guess that's a good point. I should probably do it that way. That would be more fair. Let's go there. 2011 NCAA tournament. Hold on.
Let me ask you this, Ebby, while he's searching away. So 2011, have they made appearances since then? Or you're just not sure?
I don't. If I had to guess, I would say possibly.
Okay.
Okay, so here is the first four was UNC Asheville, Arkansas Little Rock, Clemson, and UAB, UTSA. Who the hell's University of Texas
San Antonio.
San Antonio, Alabama
South Beach.
State. Shut up. VCU and USC.
It was none of them.
Oh, I can barely read any of this. I need to make my screen bigger.
Hold on. I can also do this. Is that
I
helpful?
don't even know what seed
That's
they were.
very helpful.
If I can.
Scroll down.
There we go.
UC Santa Barbara. No. It was Wofford,
Look
wasn't
at that.
it?
Pitt was the number 1 seed then.
Was
Wofford?
it? Was it
Not
Wofford?
Wofford.
Not Wofford?
Yep.
Boston University.
Nope. You're kind of in the right
Belmont?
Am I in the
geographical
right-
region.
Okay.
Actually,
Belmont?
you're right in the
Wait, who did he
geographical
say?
region.
Boston.
BU.
St. Peter's.
What?
St. Peter's.
I don't even see it.
What is St. Peter's?
That's round of 32. Let's go back up to East Regional.
Are they even in here? Maybe try 2012 bracket because I'm not seeing them on here.
This is crazy.
Go to 2012.
I will edit
Very
this stuff out.
suspenseful.
That's fine. Okay, so Kentucky, Western Kentucky. Was it a
Scroll
play?
down to the way.
Oh, yeah, good. They have it the other way.
I don't know.
There you go.
Lamar.
Well, they were playing games. Lamar. Was it Vermont?
Nope.
I know it wasn't the Bonnies.
It's an automatic bid.
It was an automatic bid, so it was
Conference
no.
that they came
no.
from.
Okay.
Yeah, the conference they come from is an automatic bid.
Lehigh? No, they've been in.
Nope. 66-year drought.
Long Island.
No.
So if they're an automatic bid, I mean I got nothing, man. Yeah.
I
Literally
feel like
nothing.
history.com is making a liar out of me because I don't see them on this one either. Anyways, it's Harvard. Harvard was 66 years. Harvard.
Wow. That's crazy.
And Dartmouth is currently
Because it was 2013.
trailing them. It says 2011.
Number 14,
should-
That
Harvard.
was
we
their
should-
last time.
We should write them a letter.
Write them a strongly worded letter.
So Dartmouth is currently entering its 58th year of not making the tournament.
You know, that's kind of crazy that there's schools that you actually like have heard of, obviously for other reasons, but for them to not make the tournament for that long, like I feel like it would have been like a random small school that you're like, wait, they're Division I? I didn't even realize that.
Right.
But
They're a bunch of nerds. I'll say it. I don't care. They're way more focused on books than they are bouncing a ball up and down the floor.
You're a nerd and you can still play baseball.
Yeah, but I sure as hell didn't go to Harvard.
That's physics.
I'm an idiot.
Wow.
I am a idiot.
You're one
That's
of
why
the
I'm part of this podcast.
I say you're one of the 3 dumb dads. So
So those are your 5 fun facts of March Madness.
I dig it. I dig it.
So with that, that's going to end our episode tonight. Anybody have final thoughts?
I'm looking forward to seeing what our results look like when we come back in 2 weeks.
Yes.
It's going to be interesting to see, how things play out. I expect Gonzaga to be running through everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Norfolk State is currently up 41-28 on Appalachian State. But, again, I think it's going to be a dominant year for the top seeds, and we're going to have some exciting games, down the stretch. But we'll see what happens. Anything can happen.
That one shining moment.
All right. So with that said, thank you guys for joining us tonight. Make sure you do go check out our bracket. You can find it on facebook.com/3dumbdads. You can also find us anywhere you're looking for the podcast. Obviously, you can find us right here on Twitch every Thursday, skipping next Thursday. We will be back April 1st, 9 o'clock here on Twitch. You can find us on any of your major podcast places, Apple, Spotify. Seth, you have the whole list. Somewhere.
Yeah, I have the whole list. I just don't know what it is off the top.
Podster,
Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Amazon Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, anywhere you find your podcasts, you can find us. Just search 3 Dumb Dads, and that's 3 spelled out, not the number 3. Yeah, April Fools is going to be a fun time. I think I've got a lot of stuff prepared. So I'm looking forward to it, and we'll talk to everybody then.
Say the best part, Ebby doesn't even know about it yet. Thank you guys all for watching tonight. We'll catch you in 2 weeks. Have a good night.
Later, guys.
Bye.